We kicking. We're kicking a little bit. Oh, I have to update this shit? Come on, man. What are we talking about? I played this shit Monday. What do you mean I have to update it? What's up, Skyrat? Skyrat, for your own edification, I will be announcing this later on. I'll be announcing the whole order. Skyrat, you are 9th out of 10. So you're towards the back end right now. If that is unacceptable to you, let me know and we can try to switch it around. But yeah, you're the first person to show up today, Skyrat. Good job. I'll get you an attendance award for that. What's up, Dylan? What's up, John? What's up, Caden? Thank you all for coming by the stream. Chris G, what's happening? Do you mind posting the order in the Discord? Yeah, I can do that. One sec. I think I've got that copied. Let me go to, I'm gonna post it in Shill Moment where the go live notification is. Okay, so in our Discord, in the Shill Moment where I do all the content announcements, the order is posted there. Outer Zeven, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. I appreciate your generosity. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. I don't have an Ezio Auditore impression, Skyrat. I didn't play the games enough to have an impression of Ezio. John, I have not reviewed the Master Multiplied yet. Derek, thank you so much. Crazy Moose, thank you for gifting 5 memberships to the dog home. Welcome back to Dog Heaven. You'll accept an Italian accent? Yeah, I can give you a Brad Pitt from Inglourious Bastards. That's what I can do for you. Buongiorno. It's a me, Ezio. Let me write that down as a note for your deck. Do Italian accent. Maybe I should just, one thing I've been thinking about, what's up, Karma? One thing I've been thinking about is having like a wheel that gets spun for which character reviews your deck. Because we have Coach Mauled, we have Caesar Mauled. I could do like Italian Mauled. We have Southern Mauled. And I'm going to be coming out with a new character named Howard, and Howard's an old guy that talks like this, and he's seen some mystical truths of the universe, like the reason. Do you all know why you should never drive yourselves home from the airport? I'll tell you why. Because one time, right, back in 1989, I drove myself to the airport. It was for a sales conference. I go, it's great, we landed the deal. I'm flying back. My buddy Tobias, he's on the flight. I'm in coach, right? You know me, I don't need anything special, so I'm in coach. My buddy Tobias, he's in first class, and he pulls me up with him, and we drank everything on this plane. Not everything. I know they were hiding some stuff from us, but we drank everything they would give us. And it's important to know that 1 in the air is 2 on the ground. So if you have one little bottle of whiskey in the air, that's 2 on the ground. So we drink everything in sight. I get home, I land, it's 11:30, I'm shit-faced. So I call my wife and I tell her, hey, I'm gonna be sleeping at the Marriott next to the airport. I wake up the next day, it's 8 a.m., I'm still shit-faced. I don't know what to do. So I drive home. It was incredibly dangerous, and that's why you just can't, it's not worth it to drive yourself from the airport. To and from the airport. You always got an Uber now that they got them these days. It used to be a taxi, but now you can use Uber. And you just, it's safer. Howard encounters Eldritch gods and it's just a regular Tuesday for him. Yeah, like that's what the character would be. And so there's definitely an idea for wheel spin, have random goofy caricature review your deck instead of normal me. That's it. So we're gonna do quick game, just waste a little time while we wait for everybody to get in here, and then we're going to hop into the deck roast. We have 10 people going today. Work burnout over here, but been tinkering with a brew for my local pods. They're not going to like my nonsense. Yo, idle hands are the devil's plaything, and it almost always crashes back on the people you play this game with. Oh, Lockman, I'm glad you're having a good time with your post-roast grandma deck. Double Ulamog will do that to you, though. Spin the Wheel of Mauled is, in fact, a perfect channel point reward. Alright, we will get that going, then. I'm gonna get this mountain, because I need it for Brotherhood's End. Howard needs to be reserved for Eldrazi roast, because he has interacted with each one personally. Maybe that could be a, like... That could be a, like, behind the balance room thing, because we have Kevin the Crackhead, and it could be, like, Howard is the one pushing for all the Eldrazi designs because he knows them, and he's like, no, you're not being accurate. Emrakul doesn't look like that. So I think we go enters tapped. The loot monger it up. I don't think cut down's gonna work for me too much. Holy fuck. Fuck this whole shit. I'm worried about them having any of these. I'll take this one. I don't think the Is It deck should be allowed to have that much mana. Bean, you got a swamp instead of a mountain, dumbass. That is all according to Keikaku, because I knew I was gonna get this. Why are you acting up? And then we can just tap my artifact. Now I got red. Now we're good. Hey, we're good. Oh, thank you for the 20-bit cheer, Troper. Okay, so I can Marchesa. I can also just Gilded Lotus. Oh, I got Counterspell? Let's fucking go. I will play this. We gotta do a little dammy. We gotta do a little bit of dammies. And then, okay, after I get Gilded Lotus out, Weave the Nightmare becomes a lot better because I can choose 2 options instead of choosing 1. Cast your commander, bro. Try it. Thank you. Eat my butt. Don't think we need to have this enter untapped. Oh, we can Weave the Nightmare, but that's counter target non-creature.
This is my home, and I don't appreciate it when people... You won't be outsmarting me.
Let's make him discard. Let's rip some hands. I know we're going down to 1, but Weave the Nightmare is going to get me cards off of Heist, and it's going to get me a card off of Committing a Crime, because I'm just pooping mana. And I want to be upticking this Liliana to make sure that... Yeah, perfect. So you get to draw an additional card. Oh, not perfect, actually. Whoops. That is unperfect. Let's Heist them. Let's draw some fucking cards. What's up, Troper? Oh, Wash Away? Hell yeah. Not Troper. What's up, Talamar? Ooh. Yeah, miscast probably. Then we have a lot of counter spells, so I'm just gonna try to beat them to death and hold up counter spells, and we'll see how they deal with that. I made my own version of the I love stealing, I love taking things, and it is unfortunately the funniest thing to play when I need the pick-me-up. Yo, taking stuff is good. Stealing things, taking stuff, it's always a good time. Cast your commander, bozo. Try it. Try me. Nope. Not a chance. Angry Dolphins, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. 6 months in a row, half a year together. Incredible. Ooh, and we're getting 2 treasures off of this. My God. All right, they get to draw 2. They got one. They got 1 card to figure this out with, and we have 1 non-creature counterspell. That's fine. Yeah, no, thank you. We'll look at. Eat my butt, dude. Paradox Engine. Fairest magic card in existence. Paradox Engine. Yeah, if they do a Karl Marx card, we'll be getting after it. Don't worry. Famously fair and balanced, especially in an Izzet artifact mana rock deck. Based on what we saw off the heists, that whole deck was play mana rocks, play artifact cost reducers, and then just do Izzet control, which is the lamest possible way to do Ovika, so I'm glad that we got to shut him down. We're going to start moving in to doing the roasts. So, for anybody unfamiliar with how these work, my patrons present to me a deck list, a primer, a power rating, the deck in 1 word, and whether or not they want me to improve it. Now, the power rating we accept is not 1 to 10 because that is wrong and bad, as nobody is willing to use the bottom 6. In some cases, people will call their deck a 4 or 5, and those people are masochists. So, instead, we use spooky, scary, silly. I said those out of order. Goes silly, spooky, scary. But that is how ominous your turns are to a bystander, to somebody observing your deck. Those people are liars. Market Gaming, good point. Anybody who says their deck is a 4, you either needed to try really hard to build that deck shitty on purpose, or you lie to your friends. Either way, I don't want to play against the deck. So we do silly, spooky, scary. And then your primer is what you think the deck does or what you want the deck to do. What you believe in your heart of hearts the deck can be. It's what I will be trying to judge the deck against and improve it towards, unless your dreams are bad. Some people in this stream, they come in here, they have dreams, they share them with me in the primer, and I have to let them know your dreams suck. And I have better dreams than you, and I can give them to you, and I can put them in your head like the Elon Musk Neuralink. And so sometimes we do need to do that. But oftentimes, you tell me the assignment, and I grade you based on the assignment you've told me. And then you give me the deck in 1 word. And the deck in 1 word, that's a vibe. That's the vibe check of the deck. So I've posted the order in our Discord. I'm going to post the order in Twitch chat for everyone right now. That's the order we're going in tonight. Pesky Pineapple is up first. Anybody who can't be here will get an edited clip of their section later on. So Pesky Pineapple's deck, allegedly spooky. I'm trying to clone Mommy Achroma. They do want improvements. The deck in 1 word is whatever, is nothing. So let's see what they got. Ixidor's 1,000 Faces. I will give you a few points. Most people don't try to make a serious deck name and they just do something goofy. This is a decent attempt at a serious deck name. I can confirm this is Mommy Achroma. Very clonable. Keyword soup. Keyword soup board buff based on how many keywords each of your creatures have. So if you copy Achroma, you're making a bunch of, oh, I was gonna say 11/11s because she has 5 keywords, but that's only when you have 2 Achromas. As soon as you have any other Achromas, the math gets very fucked up very quickly. I like that dream. That's a good expensive dream to have. That's a very casual dream to have. 38 lands is the type of real estate investment scheme you need to afford those dreams. All right. So my cam is blocked. Oh, right. There's a different setup we got to use for the deck roast. Let's move me over. Let's move everyone over. Thank you for the heads up. Oh, yeah, Chloe, you're going to go at the end. The sheet just isn't updated enough, so let me grab... So you're going to go after Geno. Please set it up in 2 separate scenes in OBS rather than just moving it, I beg of you. No. So let's see what their plan is to get to the clone game. There's Aether Channeler, there's Extortionist, Charming Prince, which is Flicker. Alright, then there's a Copier. Alright, then Chloe, you're gonna go second. 4 draw in a goddamn Azorius deck. We've got 5. We have more mana dorks than we do card draw. That is green behavior. I need you to do better than that. Clone Bone. 14. That's reasonable if that's your primary gimmick. Alright, a million things that clone. 5 counter spells, 5 disruption. Double strike. Do you need double strike though? Versus like why I'm wondering like why would you need double strike over just get a goddamn clone? Creatures with first strike have double strike, sure. Value. This ETB shit is crazy. This ETB shit seems like the deck, this person played Brago and then transitioned it to I'm gonna build my own Azorius deck. And then they just kept some random shit out of Brago, because I cannot for the life of me. I mean, maybe you flicker... Like, are you flickering the copies because you want to change around what it's entering as? If you're doing so, I believe you. And I believe you. I just don't believe in you is the important thing. Alright, we got people complaining they can't hear. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, no, that's a different one. Okay. Well, turn me up even more. I'll blow your eardrums straight the fuck out. You think I care? I do not care. I will make this uncomfortable for every last one of you. We're not making token copies though, Skyrat. We have a ton of creatures that we're not doing the blue thing to make token copies, which is a little crazy, IMO. We also have a lot of protection when it seems like protection is redundant when we just have 2 of the bitches. Then we're casting with Flash for... presumably no reason. I will give you points... I will give you points for not including Smothering Tithe. 146, it looks like this is a budget deck. Let's see what we get. They have 1 land. It's a little rough, but we'll draw the other one off the top. So we'll do a land. Next turn, we'll get unlucky. We'll dump this to hand size. We'll get unlucky. We'll dump this to hand size. We'll get unlucky. We'll dump this to hand size. We'll get unlucky. We'll dump this to hand size. All right, turn 6. We got that second land. Then we can Giada. Then we'll be unlucky and we'll dump this to hand size. I guess we'll Charming Prince, Scry 2. Yeah, we can keep those in that order. Finally get another land. Aether Channeler. Draw a card. Next turn. Unlucky again. Ghostly Pilferer, it's turn 10. We're fucking dead. Let's run it back. All right, 3 lands in this one. This looks good, but not a lot of shit to play. We can play this, but then for the most part, we're just waiting, right? Yeah, we get Worn Power Stone. Aspirant's pretty good here, so that takes us down to a 5 cost. So we have this now. I think we would play this and this to set up for our commander. Then we'd play this, try to equip them, pray to God we did. And then we kind of win. Right? I think at that point we just fucking win. We play Sakashima. We get another angel. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a second angel. We have a third angel. Only one has haste, but now we have 2 instances at the beginning of combat. So we have a lethal commander damage to somebody. We have lethal commander damage to somebody on turn 7 and everybody on turn 8 if there's not a board wipe. That feels pretty nice. Let's see if we can keep getting... Why the fuck we got a bounce land? I don't know how many times I need to say this shit. You have no reason to have this bounce land. This bounce land is doing nothing for you. You know what it's making you do? We're discarding Giada to the graveyard. I hope you didn't give a fuck about her. I hope you didn't give a fuck about your Angel Mana Dork. You put a bounce land in your goddamn deck. What the fuck? What the hell, you guys? Alright, so we have 6 Angel Mana. You probably do this, scry 2. We don't need another copy at this point. I mean, Ephemerate we could keep just to... So we'll float a blue, we'll bounce this guy, we'll scry 2. Sea Chrome, we don't want. This we do want. We'll scry 2 again. We'll keep this on top. And then this one's finally done. Okay. So number 1, the problem with this deck is the lack of card draw. And it is almost insultingly so that it's the lack of card draw when we're playing in blue. As far as the card draw you do have, sure, Mangara, I can see why you want a little bit of protection. But the other card draw we have, wildly expensive or conditional. We have Ghostly Pilferer, who is conditional, and if you're discarding a card to draw a card every turn, that shit is wild to me. Teferi, Mage of Zalfir is also... Everything you have that makes this stuff play at instant speed is smoking crack. You do not need to play at instant speed so much as you need to just have the protection pieces either out beforehand and ready to go, because in my mind, the only reason you would need to play at instant speed is because you want to play it on the end step before your turn to untap with mana, and that's just worse than playing it on your turn and being able to protect it. And returning... And then even the haste enablers... Got my sinuses fucked up. This deck is so stinky. Even your haste enablers... I mean, I guess I get it. We really do want to give a Chroma haste. But I think everything in Flash needs to be card draw instead. Most of the things in draw need to change. I think... Defiler of Dreams you can keep just because you have so many blue permanents to play and you have so many pips. Ghostly Pilferer is also okay, but it's so unreliable. Like, these two together, these two card draw cards, these count for one card. And then Mangara, also highly conditional. Welcoming Vampire, you're kind of like bombing yourself with. Because we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10. We have 10 cards in the deck that will help with Welcoming Vampire. Otherwise, we're just having all of these things ETB as, you know, the goal is that these are going to ETB as a 6/6. Like, we have a very goofy dream that we're trying to achieve right now, and when you're trying to achieve a goofy dream, you don't want everything around it to also be goofy. That doesn't mean you have to give in to the staples advice and you know, throw in Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, this, that, and the other that doesn't need to be there. But I would say you probably don't need a single thing that says Flash in this deck. You definitely need better ETBs that you can potentially copy if you do not have the mana to play your commander yet, and you don't want to sit there with your genitals in your hand, whichever those may be. Because your disruption is, like, I'll keep it 100 with you. Aerial Extortionist is bad. Turn 5 in a commander game, you're going to play a 4/3 that exiles a card but still lets them cast it. The Azorius is always here to make some people play by some goddamn rules. And so if you're going to have a disruption piece, I would have an actual disruption piece, or I would just have something that has a little bit more value. Or even, like, right now, I'm judging all your cards against Consider. I'm judging every single one of the cards in your deck against how badly would I prefer to have just drawn a different card. Spell Queller, basically every time. I'm going to hold up 3 mana to potentially exile something expensive that they just get for free with my 3 toughness butt dies. This isn't even 1 Pilates class worth of butt. This is does yoga on the weekends level of butt. And that is not enough to gatekeep some of the expensive shit people are throwing down. Reflector Mage is halfway decent disruption with your ability to copy him so many times. Deputy of Detention, same thing. Mainly for token hate. And because it's ETB and you don't have to deal combat damage. Oh, this is ETB too. Okay. I'm actually back on... I totally fucking missed the ETB on Extortionist, so I'm back on that. Let's see your ramp. A lot of colorless, which makes sense because we don't have too many pips in our really important things. I think Teferi's Time Twist is also smoking a little bit of crack when you have copies. Let me do another playtest. Deep Known Terramancer's good. But playtesting it over and over, we're getting put in a position of we have nothing to do on turns 3 through 6. Like turns 3 through 6 right now, we are playing. This is funny, so I'm inclined to let you have it. But otherwise, turn 3 through 6, we're playing hacky sack. Like, you actually have some meaningful things to lay down in the very early game in terms of your cost reducers. And then we get to, we definitely have enough clones that we're going to see one. So we're definitely going to be playing these clones. We don't have anything good to clone with them. Now, maybe there's value that can be had by preying on what your opponents are doing. Maybe your opponents play something that is just incredibly heinous in the early turns of the game, and you want to be able to jump on that with your 14 clones. And if that is what's happening, I salute you. Flash is still useless. I am begging you to not run all of these flash cards. You can even like, you have so much ramp and no card draw to get to it, and so anytime you draw this deck in the wrong order, you're just totally fucked. And that's always a terrible spot to be in. And the way you account for, oh no, I'm drawing my deck in the wrong order, is you have card draw. Enters the battlefield, draw card. So let's see if there's anything that would fit supremely well. I think this would be funny for a clone deck if they bomb your commander, by the way. I think you could cut anything for Agents of Treachery. Not even for the card draw, just for the rudeness. This guy's probably too expensive. Proft wouldn't be horrible. You are really trying to get to quite a lot of mana, and you definitely would not mind a little bit of life gain because you are wide open. Okay, you are like me in college after 10 shots of tequila. You are ready to go. Hulud, I do see YouTube chat. I just try to not interrupt the flow while I'm in the middle of talking about a deck. The deck lists are all pulled from Patreon. We are closed for this month because there are no more available signups for this month. But I think Proft costs low enough that you can get him out quickly. He does a thing on ETB, which allows for your flicker token copy stuff. And he gives you an out for having a ton of mana, which you are more likely than not to have. Dapper Chap, thank you so much. Or if you want to shoot yourself in the penis, you can pick Bizarre Trade Mage. Let's see if there's anything else that would be particularly great. But even if we don't find anything else that is particularly great, everything in here, worse than Opt. Everything in here is worse than just taking Consider, Opt, anything that costs 1 or 2 mana and lets you draw a few cards, because you need to make sure you are getting to the lands, getting to the ramp, because the thing you're doing at the top end is silly. And the sillier the thing at your top end is, the more sure you have to be that the engine is going to get you there. And I think you have enough lands, and I think, honestly, you could even cut... I would let you cut 1, which I almost never let motherfuckers do, but I would let you cut 1 in service of something that will let you draw some cards to make sure that we are getting to the things that will make you actually not only win the game, but be able to play the game. What I'm afraid of with a deck like this is it looks like a deck that sometimes just doesn't get to play the game because it drew shit in the wrong order. Clones do help with that because it allows you to play your opponent's game, but it also feels bad to abandon your game plan for not even theft. If this was theft instead, dope as hell. But it's not theft, right? It's copycat stuff. So they still get to have the broken thing. Ethereal Investigator would also be somewhat reasonable because it gets you clues, which are, if you're not building around clues, this still feels bad. I want to be very clear. This is not going to feel good, but it's going to feel better than having nothing to do. If you want to make everybody lose their fucking minds, Firmament Sage with copies, you'll win just off psychic damage, my friend. You'll win just because everybody else will pull their brainstem out of their heads. That's how I like to win my games. Overall, I think the deck this is a Sisyphean effort. You need to stick a chroma, and then you need to start sticking clones, and you need to avoid getting shot the whole time. And you got to the bottom of the mountain with your boulder, and then apparently you said, I'm gonna wear like Gucci flip-flops on the way up. That's actually not a good one because it's not expensive enough, but you picked some shit that is completely unrelated to the task at hand and is only making your journey harder. And I need you to pick some stuff relevant to the task at hand, and the stuff relevant to the task at hand is card draw that works. Card draw that works, please. Skyrat, thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. Let's look at Case of the Shifting. Ooh. I like this. I like this a lot. Surveil 1 with how bad your cards are, that is impactful. Yeah, 12 cents. Put this in. Put this in instead of Welcoming Vampire. That one guy played. So everybody that wants a deck roast, they're closed for this month. So if you sign up this month, you won't get them. Ledger Shredder, I would say, falls under generic good stuff because it's not something that this deck particularly wants. This deck isn't trying to cast a ton of spells every turn. This deck is trying to ramp into slamming down 1 angel or 1 clone, maybe 2 clones every turn. But that 2 spells thing is a maybe, and so then Ledger Shredder is just somebody told me this card was good, so I played it. Goblin, I try to avoid generic I try to avoid like overplayed generic good stuff draw. When we can, it's best to find things that are abusable within the context of the deck, which I think this is, because you solve this case, all of these clones go crazy. I think anything with an ETB kind of is, not this one because this only works if it's neither day nor night. I think this is funny, I think this is funny, and I would rather put in stuff that does funny things. Yeah, does funny things with the deck rather than with literally everyone. We're going to move on to Tinker's deck, which is silly. It's a meme. I should have more in the primer by the time the vid goes live. Let's see. The deck in 1 word, and this is the only thing over 1 word I'm going to read. Remember to vote 2024. Make sure you fucking vote, all right? Both sides are bad. That does not mean both sides are the same. I am so far left that you get your guns back. And I will be voting for Biden, even though he's fucking gross to me, okay? Because both options being bad doesn't mean they're not, doesn't mean you can't compare them. It doesn't mean you can't identify that one is clearly fucking worse than the other. So let's move on to Tinker's deck. Return to values. I swear I'm just a dancing monkey Troper's friend group puts on the table to toss money at. Oh, me 2024. All right. Okay, Chloe, you're second. No, I didn't forget to write an actual primer. I'm the person in the playgroup online who keeps stealing all the lands, telling Troper that 32 is enough as I need to reach my grubby paws across the Atlantic to raid all of their MDFCs. This deck was honestly a shitpost, based on the fact that I'm getting tired of the current election cycle hype in the UK, so I wanted to make a deck satirizing the process. So I offer you my deck, which is our favorite enchanter running the campaigns for the Autocrat, the Fae, the Libertarians, and the only suitable political outcome from Fallout New Vegas. You can't lose an election if you play all sides. Can the deck win? Theoretically. I just need to politic my way into a two-party system, then get idolized to beat them down. In other words, it's just like real-life Oomphy. So based on the primer, I will say I'm guessing that this is more of an art exhibit than a playable deck. And I've seen that plenty of times, and they're nice to look at. 38 lands, you are all being too good to me today. Fucked up cheaters are. So let's see if you found a way to make this fair. Bribery. Doubt it. Capital punishment. Cut a deal. Okay, cut a deal's fine. Damn. So board wipe. Expropriate. A relatively fair tutor. Oh, right. Tags. Yeah. My fault. All candidates. Okay, so there's Augustine the Fourth, Talion, Big Stinky, and Yes Man. In case of losing election. Yeah, this is an art exhibit for sure. Mitch. I mean, he's not UK, but this feels like Mitch McConnell. Also political. Also political. You should have, I think, to really drive home that this is also political, is you should make your own altar where you draw mad titties, just like mad thangin' things. Like I think that breastplate has some, but you gotta really push it in. Campaign policies: fear, idolized, moderation, oppression. Ooblet, propaganda, stasis. Jesus. Debate me. Alright, so this is all the removal. The considering is also a shitpost. Reality, illusion of choice. Evil twin. Z-lands. Ye advert props. Those are our mana rocks. Useful tools. Okay. Based on how this is going so far, it looks like the deck is mostly a Tivit deck. I'm gonna play test it and see if it's actually usable. Those tags are a wild fucking ride. So we'll do that. Didn't find the land, so we will use the Glasspool Mimic as a land. Split decision. Now we don't have anything to do, so we'll say we get losted. We'll say we get losted somebody, and then we'll eat shit, I guess. Okay. I think here we moderation because we need the card draw. We'll do Yes Man to draw that extra card. God, we'll play this on the flip side. Enters tapped though. Fuck, dude, that hurts. Can we Obscura Charm? Yeah, we'll play this. Get Aven Mind Sensor back. Take one more. Next turn. Command Tower. Now we can get Zur out. We'll draw a card for it. We'll put this thing away. Oh, we do probably need this. Nah, fuck it. We'll put it away. Okay, so now it's turn 8. We have Zur. This is actually unkeepable. We have one land that doesn't really work. We'll try to rock with this. It's fine, I think, for that to enter tapped. Next turn. Christ above. Flip again. Alright, turn 4 on curve. We play Zer. And then we attack. And then, so what are we looking for when we go to get Zer? We're almost certainly looking for moderation to get ourselves card draw. Oppression is crazy. I hate that this deck is semi-functional. It's not strong, but I don't think it's meant to be strong. It's certainly this deck is able to play Magic the Gathering with some of the most accurate tags I have ever seen. There are almost no stretches in these tags. Except for also political. Check considering. If I actually get in nuclear fallout, not happening. Ye old shame, July 4th. Is that fire? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, never put Soul Ring in. I think reparations would be funny. This is a deck that could justify black market connections, because that is really, like, that's just how the CIA works. So if you wanted to put that in, I would say you have gimmick-based justification for black market connections. Am I really a politician if I don't have a discarded ring in my past? Fucking bars. This is all fine, so we can vote an additional time. Command tower. Then we just curve out, and then I presume you get shot in the fucking chest. What do we do next? I do think the most concerning part of the deck, as is most decks, because nobody wants to only pick 10 toys. Everybody wants to pick 40 toys that they really hope and pray they draw into, and you have a lot of really good toys, so I get why you didn't want to choose 10. Most problems that most decks face can be solved by cutting approximately 1/3 of the cards you consider playable and replacing them with things that draw you cards. Because if this deck was ever to fail to function, it is probably because we've got a little bit of greedy ass shit. Not very much. Most of the curve is very reasonable, and we have a ton of MDFCs. But basically everything in the deck does something, which sounds very good on the face of it. But if everything in your deck does something, and it looks like it's relatively built to handle a number of things, most of it focuses on voting, but we've got some random stacks pieces, presumably to fuck over people that ramp. And then we've got a hefty amount of removal. And so if you're ever in a situation where you don't need to remove things, it could get not dicey for you, because again, as soon as anything needed to be removed, you could, as soon as anything needed to be removed, you can handle the problem. The stacks are admittedly mostly there for name memes. Then, Tinker, it's up to you whether you want the deck to be an art exhibit or you want it to be more of a playable deck. I think right now, you are doing a very good job of doing both. And if you want the deck to be a little bit more effective, I would drop some things like, God, even though Oppression's funny, even though Stasis is very funny. Oh yeah, you know what? What other bullshit you can certainly, that no other deck in the world can justify having, that you can justify having? Fucking land tax. You're one of the only decks that has the official Malltown approval for property taxes in there. Crimson Fucker, we don't have Reality Acid because this deck is very aggressively themed around politics. And so I think in terms of Ristic Study, you certainly do not have a justification for. And even Tithe, I would say that's to the church rather than to the government. Or at least has its has its roots in the church rather than the government. So if this was a religion deck, I would let you get away with Tithe. But I think land tax makes sense. Them just being tax effects is honestly not at the level of the rest of the deck. The rest of the deck is at the level where both the effect and the name is pretty on theme. The US government is separated from the church. Sure. What about war tax? Let's see if war tax exists. I think this is too bad of a card. But if you could... Oh yeah, hold on. We have the... Oh god, it's not the rebuttal, but it's the... There's that tool in US politics where you could... The filibuster. Where you can literally just talk for as long as you can and nobody can stop you. So we can't do monologue tax. Azor's Elocutors. This could be funny. It depends on if Tinker thinks, yeah, this is literal filibustering. This is heat. I think this can replace Aven Mind Sensor instantly. I don't think Aven Mind Sensor is doing much for you at all. I think we have Council of Four already. Vic Weave, we could turn this into a total mill deck. We could make a flavor argument for persistent petitioners. I just don't think the deck really wants to do anything with persistent petitioners. This is surely a Tivit deck. I am not sure how it wins a game of Magic the Gathering. I was so impressed that it could play Magic the Gathering. I never bothered to worry about what it's doing. I guess you probably idolize Tivit and then you kill them by swinging a supremely big Tivit, and that's all it's got. So if somebody gets rid of idolized, you just cope forever. Okay, but we got Tivit. You ready for this? Dark Ritual, Insatiable Avarice, Hollowed Fountain to top. Oh, wait, no, we need to... Isolated Chapel to top. There we go. And now we can pay 3 and we can connive. Fuck capital punishment. We get a counter. And then even as we're swinging, we're probably just looking for moderate. Like, I can't think of anything we would want more than more than moderation. Like, that's Xur's best campaign policy because the deck is so hard up for card draw. Oh yeah, I'm being a fucking... I'll do anything for card draw. Even magic centrism is acceptable as long as it allows me to touch some cards. Karma, hit me with that personal question. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't know too many ways to improve it. I love it. I think the worst things that would be improvable are Defiler of Faith, Shifting Grift, Split Decision, Aven Mind Sensor, and Stasis. You need Defiler of Faith for US politics. Then think about those other four. The pillar you're missing is probably card draw, because if anybody removes Xur before you play moderation, this looks like you sit on your... This looks like me when I sit on my hands for 18 years. Chloe, I see your message. Why you... Okay. You don't have to run land tax, Chloe. Listen, sometimes you just got to accept it. Just trust the grifter. It's like real politics. So those other four I would look at. I like Hypnotic Grifter because you can connive and you, again, you super fucking, you need to draw cards. You need to draw the right cards. And I love that this deck can work. But if there's any other, I don't even know how to look on Scryfall for any of this stuff. But honestly, like 9 out of 10 on this deck. The fact that you win by creating a cult of personality around Big Stinky and then letting him murder everybody is a tremendous cherry on top. But it really does look like, please, oh god, oh fuck, let me swing Xur once so that I can play moderation. Otherwise, I am going to cry. And that's because of the degree to which it is an art exhibit. And I respect you for it. But it's a tough game. We're going to move on to Sverti. Spooky deck. Colorless artifact deck. Kind of lost the plot when making it. Was planning on it either being a silly fun times deck where everyone can have a good time, or make it a deck where its sole purpose is to shit on the one player who brings overpowered borderline CEDH decks to casual nights. Still kind of up in the air and like suggestions for both sides. It's probably going to be hard to give you suggestions for both sides, but what I can do is I can vote for which side I think you're closer to and is useful. Oh, what about Promise of Power for Chloe's deck? I think it's pretty slow. It's possible, but honestly, with how the deck, like for versus Aven Mind Sensor, yes. Versus some of the other things, it wouldn't be like the best card we added to the deck, but it would definitely be better than some of these really weak pundits. So yeah, Colin, thank you for that suggestion. Yo, all right, yeah, if Chloe loves it, there we go. All right, moving on to Sverti's fair and balanced artifacts. We got Planeswalker Hate, which I love to see. 33 lands, but your commander's 2 mana, so who's counting? 36 artifacts. So what do our creatures do? We have Arcbound shit. Hello there, Mordai. Alright, no tags in this shit. Is there any common thread throughout our artifacts? Put a 1/1 counter. Draw card, discard, exile artifact card. Make a token, shuffle our deck. Steal something. draw a card, gain some life, make a 3/3. Buff a very expensive thing, but our commander's 2 mana. Helm of the Host. Copy our artifacts, make charge counters. Thrawn Dynamo, 3 bowls of porridge. Okay. So I think I'm beginning to see the theme that ties these 36 cards together. I'm seeing the greater purpose. And I think the purpose is that if you guys look really closely on the left side of the card, they all say artifact. And that's about all we've got. That's about all we've got for connecting these 36 cards together. And as some of you have already pointed out, Arcane Signet fails to function in this deck because our commander does not have any colors in their identity to produce. So with our commander, we want to sacrifice artifacts and put to make Ginger big. We would also like our opponents to control planeswalkers, but we can only achieve that by playing with dipshits rather than by playing by doing anything on our end. So we can make a lot of tokens. That makes sense for an artifact deck. We have a lot of modular things, which makes sense to me if we have a lot of sacrifice outlets, but I don't think we have that. We have Geode Golem for a 2-mana commander. We got to have a moment here, Sverti, just you and me. This is like you've gone to the bank, you've gotten pre-approved for a $500,000 mortgage to get a room at the Marriott for 3 nights. How much did people... What did you do? How much do people at your table hate you? That Sir Ginger is dying so many times that this is reasonable. Because I'll buy it as a trauma response. I just want to know what you did. You don't get hate like this for nothing. My brain just broke. All right, if that's you, then I get it. Ginger Brute, sack, Hangerback Walker. Hangerback Walker is the best card we've seen in the deck so far. Hedron Crawler. Liberator's fine. Lodestone Golem, I think, is like... This seems like when the folds of gray matter were beginning to break down. Because Lodestone Golem is a little bit of hate, but it's relatively ineffective hate. And for this deck to work, you want stuff with death triggers, and you want stuff that's able to sacrifice itself. Patchwork makes sense. Triniform makes sense. Plague Mirror, sure, it's a dork and it's infect, so it's removal bait, and when it gets removed, hopefully it makes Sir Ginger bigger. Scrap Trawler's great. Simulacrum's fine. Overseer's okay. Traxos makes sense because you're already in an artifact deck, so you need way more things that sacrifice. I'll do a play test to confirm. Let's see, we have... So opening hand, we Candy Trail, we get to scry 2. I think we want both of those, to be frank. We'll play this. We'll play Ornithopter. We'll play this. We'll play Golem Foundry. We'll play this. I think at this point we tap out for that to put a counter, to begin putting a counter on this. We tap Dynamo to put a counter on this. It's turn 5 now. We're playing Sir Ginger. We're playing Sir Ginger. And we're in a position where we have nothing in our graveyard. So Scrap Trawler doesn't allow us to cheat anything back. We can tap this Myrrh to crack the Candy Trail to get a counter. We'll draw a card. Look at that. It's a wastes. And the thing is, I don't think camp works. Because it's when tap for mana, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. Oh, it just doesn't make the junk. So you get the 1/1 counter even if the color thing doesn't exist. Camp. We'll keep ticking these up. Scrap Trawler, tick these up, get another counter off of the camp. Next turn. And we're in turn 6 in ostensibly... Alright, now in terms of what are we going to do with this fucking deck? I don't think you can do silly fun times where everyone has a good time. Sir Ginger is a little lady with a big pointy stick, and you are not going to build colorless group hug in a way that is compelling. So I would reserve this for, I'm going to make a deck that is really good at taking this little lady and taking her big pointy stick and ramming it up the urethra of Paul, who insists on bringing an overpowered deck to casual night. So from there, what we need to do is sacrifice. I don't think we can search by sacrifice this card, but I'm going to try anyway. We don't even necessarily need to... We don't need to necessarily Voltron, because Ginger will Voltron themselves if we just get artifacts into our graveyard. Alchemist's Vial is a sacrificial thing, and it can stop a blocker, and it replaces itself, which, more important than anything, you need to be able to replace the cards you play as you play them. Tall Nerd, I think we're going towards making it an eggs deck right now. Idol of Oblivion won't really work because we're not making a ton of tokens. Salvager of Ruin would be great. It can either get your commander back, or it can get one of your other sacrifice pieces back and then buff your commander. So I would say Salvager of Ruin, post haste. Wedding Invitation is possible, but not great. Ichor Wellspring is definitely playable, but we do need more ways to sacrifice our artifacts. The point we're at right now with this deck is, hey, what if we didn't really do anything? What if we didn't do a goddamn thing? My friends play slivers and send triplets. Yeah, we need to do some crazy shit. Do you have the Ravager? Okay, you don't even have the good Arcbound card. So we need the good Arcbound card. You probably want Extruder. You do not want Excavator. Do not listen to Shadow Walker. Even Grinding Station would be playable for you. Ingenuity Engine. Mycosynth Golem. Krark Clan Ironworks is also going to do it for you. Skywrap, probably not. I'll be real. If you come back in like, I would say 90 minutes, that's probably, or an hour to 90 minutes, that's probably about accurate. I will try to remember, but I cannot promise anything. Yeah, Metalwork Colossus would be good. So now that we have all these sack things, you then need to look for ways to make little artifacts. Phyrexia's core is probably a good land. But you need the artifacts to sacrifice in the first place. Mirror Turbine, but that is slow, yeah. Other good things, Expedition Map. As somebody stated, it can fetch a piece of Tron. It's an artifact that you can sacrifice. Slagstone. Refinery seems like gas. Yeah, that's probably pretty good, since you do have a number of non-token artifacts that we're hoping to recur. We are sort of well past the, like, for this to work, I do think you need to throw out 80 cards. I think you need to throw out, well, not 80, you need to throw out probably 60 cards. You, I believe, have less than 10 things in this deck that we can keep to achieve your plan of absolutely decimating the son of a bitches that play slivers and send triplets. And you need the most efficient equipments you can get. And then you need to get a ton of these artifact sackers and a ton of these low to the ground artifact producers. Retrofitter Foundry would be pretty good for you. Mirrorworks would be, I think you have Mirrorworks though. And like Collector's Vault is keepable, Cloud Key's keepable, Candy Trail is, Camp's a maybe, Signet you got to get rid of. Randolph Sinclair, for colorless artifact deck, you can normally get away with a little bit fewer because you're probably relying more on cost reducers and eggs than you are anything else. I do not think we have Treasure Vault, although we should get it up in here. Yeah, Treasure Vault would also be pretty good. We have Transmutation Font. We're going to move on to the 4 best games spooky deck. This deck is entirely focused around 5 specific cards, of which I have managed to include 3. These cards, Echo Storm, Fury Storm, Genesis Storm, Skull Storm, Imperial Storm, use the innate desire of commander players to kill your ship by playing cheap, easily replaceable commanders to rack up value on cards that care about how many times you cast your commander. Fools is the deck in one word. I like that. This seems like a thinly veiled trauma response, but at least you have a reason. My name is Rograk. You killed my 307 brothers. Prepare to die. Also, Keitel is here. This deck is designed to get maximum value from the Commander Storm cycle, which means having a way to repeatedly cast my commanders and then getting actual value from the Commander Storm spells, which means big non-legendary artifacts, big creatures, big copyable spells. I'm fine to change literally anything if it means casting more and better Commander Storm spells. Not played on a consistent pod, but on spell tables with randos. Kaidel could be swapped for the merfolk, but sometimes the ability to tap for mana matters with Prime Speaker and Guild Mage, and I never used the fish's ability. That sounds like you were just playing wrong. Alright, we've got tags on. Bounce lands are peak. Fuck! Are you proud of yourself? When you wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, thinking about your last 3 commander games where you haven't played anything on curve past your first 2 castings of Rogue Rack because all of your lands are in your hand because you bounced them? How does it make you feel? I know how it makes me feel. I refuse to pay commander tax. Give me my spell for free. Sure. Alright, 36 lands is reasonable. If it's in Tarkir, it's in the deck. 5 Orcish Bowmasters. What the fuck happened here? If it's in Tarkir, it's in the deck. Okay, so we have a couple cuts to make immediately. You cannot have a reason. You have no reason to have bounce lands. A spoonful of steroids. So we're putting 1/1 counters on. This is crazy. Where are you even moving these counters to? This is insane. Like on an artifact creature, which we don't have. How many artifact creatures do we have? Oh, it won't tell me. Okay, hold on. So that looks like 4. That looks like 4 options in the deck for Arcbound Slasher. Then we have Vorinclex. So these 15 cards are my commander is actually Animar, and here are all the things I'm going to do with my funny commander Animar. Card draw, but I'm Yukimoto. This is a bad enough deck, I'll almost give it to you. This deck is based around the 5 storm spells. So the core of the deck, like these 3 cards are what I built the deck around, Mr. Malt, so that's why it's so jank in some places. You get me, by the way, you got me into JJK, so thanks for that. Now my brain is rotted. I wonder how long I can make this at this point. Okay, copy, instant, or sorcery. Copy an artifact. Reveal a non-land permanent. Okay, with the sacred treasure, I summon. I mean, Crackle with power, probably real. I doubt you have enough mana. Bob Ross, draw me a gun. Okay, so we do need to be Simic. Cursed tool users rise up. Echo Storm value. I know goddamn way you said the bobbleheads are your Echo Storm payoff. I'm going to shit myself. Alright. Echo Storm hits mana rocks to get me big mana. I believe in that, and that right there is the exact reason that you should be running the other Simic commander. Because, so what I'm looking at is, these are funny. I love the gimmick. I love that you are preying on other people's trauma responses against Rogue Rack to utilize their willingness to murder him for your own gain. From a, can the deck be, is the deck a deck or is it an art piece? Each of these 3 needs to have a clear way that they can turn the game into a win for you. It's really difficult to do that with more than 2 things, but we can certainly try. With Echo Storm, all you can really do is make 1,000,000 mana rocks. Arcbound Slasher kind of sucks. Verdurous Gear Hulk is also not that great. It's probably the best individual thing you have in here. Mer Battlesphere, it's very funny. It's also quite bad. And I think if your payoff is I'm going to have a ton of mana rocks, like you either need even more tutors, or you need better shit to do, because this is I Echo Storm and then I fold to a little bit of targeted removal. Battlesphere lets me tap like 20 mirrors to deal 20 damage. So that's a world where Rograk has been murdered 5 times. You've played Battlesphere, and then you've played Echo Storm, and nobody is holding a sweeper, a board wipe, a counterspell, none of it, or even removal for mere Battlesphere. So if that's the world we're living in, I applaud you. And also, you could play literally anything. You could copy Chromatic Star and draw your deck. If that's the level that we gotta do this shit at. Like, it is funny. I'm not saying it's not funny. I'm saying this is coming at it from a point of we want each of these 3 things to work. And the 10 cards you've chosen to make this work do not present incredibly compelling win conditions. At least in the... Ooh, Shadow Walker might have it. Nah, this is if you cast it. If this wasn't a cast trigger... I would believe in you. Otherwise, but I don't believe in you with a cast trigger. So what I would say is, what you have here kind of works. I would probably use, unless you're trying to win with the bobbleheads, which it doesn't look like you are, except for maybe the luck bobblehead, and even that one you're fucking dreaming. I would do more rocks that are like Gilded Lotus, maybe Thran Dynamo, the expensive rocks that make more than 1 mana. And I would use the other 4 mana creature so that you have an outlet for that mana. Because right now you can make a shitload of mana and you have nothing to do with it. And I don't think Echo Storm is going to win you the game unless you are ready to commit to some seriously fucked up artifacts like Portal to Phyrexia. If you're willing to commit to this, we can talk. I get 3 creatures from any graveyard every upkeep. We can talk. Precursor Golem. We could talk. We could talk. Especially about Simulacrum Synthesizer, we could talk. You might have to devote a little bit more to these like expensive mana rocks, but this even works with bobbleheads. But these will present more dangerous shit for you to be doing than tee-hee, I'm gonna flick my bobblehead, which is a fun thing to do. I'd be out here flicking my bobblehead all the time. But cut Arcbound Slasher, please. It hurts me to look at it, even though it is a very good boy, and I'd like to give it tummy scritches. Check price on synthesizer first. You think we're paying for cards? Are you crazy? If you're paying for your cards, then you must have a crazy budget, because you are also paying for crack. I don't pay for either. I steal both of them. So let's look at Fury Storm. Double it and give it to the next person. Deal X damage. You need a lot of mana to do this. Crackle, you need a lot. Like all of these. So let's see. It's 4 mana. 4 for Fury Storm. A good Crackle, we need to pay at least 2. So that's 8. So that's 12 mana. Even Doppelgang, this doesn't start getting good until 2 or higher. Rite of Replication. Fury Storm is basically I pay Kicker, but it's 1 less. I'm not convinced that these spells do... Okay, let me... I don't know if I can totally rebuild the deck, because there's a lot of stuff that me personally I want to change. But the things I'm going to... The things I would recommend is you need a lot more mana. And because all of the things you want to do cost $1 million. You have some Trump-esque dreams, my friend. You want a gold-plated toilet on the moon while a sex robot flicks your bobblehead. And I want to see that dream for you too. I don't want to see it because this is a safe for work stream, but I want you to have that dream. And to have that dream, you need a shitload of money. And the thing about having a shitload of money is that we want these 3 things to work in concert together, right? You don't want the gold plating on your toilet to interfere with the heat shield of your spaceship. And you don't want the internal AI of the spaceship to mess with the commands on your sex bot. If any of these 3 things don't talk to each other, you're going to have a bad day. And right now, I think there is a little bit of interference. And the way we clean up that interference is, as much as you can, you want your ramp and your card draw to be non-permanent. So that Genesis Storm, when you do it, because you're going to, realistically, you're going to get to do it 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 if you're lucky. And so you need those 4 to count. When we Genesis Storm, we never want to find Arcbound Slasher. We honestly, Echo Storm and Genesis Storm are going to kick each other in the dick a little bit. We can accept that to some degree, but we want to limit it where we can. I think to that end, your card draw is for the most spot in a good place. Curse of Verbosity is a little weird. Three is the minimum. I mean, even then, I would say you want, even if we're talking about 3 to 5, what's Hadana's Climb? Yeah, like if you Genesis Storm and you flip Hadana's Climb, I'll be honest, that sucks. If you Genesis Storm and you flip Croconura, I would cry. if I Genesis Storm and I flip Zemek Guildmage, if I already have Animar out, I feel good. In every other situation, I feel fucking terrible. Same goes for Explorer's Cache. Honestly, same goes for Ozolith and Ozolith the Shattered Spire. Like, these 15 cards, for the most part, are a self-contained, fast and quick Animar deck. And I think you can have Animar, but if you're going to have Animar support, you need to have less of it be permanent based, because it's fucking up your Genesis Storm hits. I think if you could break the deck rules for Commander, you would want to have 99 of one specific card that would work really well with what you're trying to do. And let me just pull it into, let me make sure I have the right edition of it. Yeah, if you could get 99 of these, we would be really, really happy. And that would do really well with Genesis Storm. It would do really well with Fury Storm. It would do really well with Echo Storm. But we can't do that because Commander has rules. And so in the world where we can't do that, like, I think Song of the Dryads, you rather replace with instant or sorcery. The Bob Ross Glock, phenomenal name. But like Springleaf Drum feels really bad to flip. Would rather have Rampant Growth to just get a land. Font of Magic's good. Like, all these commander cost things are fine. We can accept these to flip. Sword of the Animist, I'd get rid of. Guardian Project, you could also get rid of. This is another thing where you could put something cool in instead of Guardian Project, as long as you had Thrasios, because the 4 mana, because it will draw the card for you. But I like what you're doing here. But remember, gold-plated toilet on a space station with a sex robot. And those 3 things need to work together as much as they can. And right now they don't. And frankly, these 15 cards are made the fuck up. These 15 cards are entirely made up. The fact that you have a 7 mana 4/6 listed under Genesis Storm value hurts my heart. It hurts me in ways I can't accurately communicate to you at this time. Honestly, same goes for Galta. This is a 12/12 that we're cheating out anyway. You want to really cheat? Let's really cheat at Magic, okay? Let's cheat at Magic for real, for real. Before I added the +1/+1 support, I found the deck dirtling a lot during the early game. Any advice to stop that when I remove it? So most of what I would recommend is, if you're dirtling, it usually means like you're not advancing to anything. I would say get some spells that make you, that let you sacrifice. You know, it will fix the dirtle immediately. Being able to turn Rograk into any other creature, right? Then you'll have something to do. You'll get one of those commander casts taken care of. Thrasios is also going to give you something to do if you have mana and you don't know what to do with it. But I would replace these with card draw, and I would replace them with ramp, and I would replace them with like better things to flip into. Or even more aggressive things. Like you could put in some swords to help Rograk be threatening to make sure that people remove him. Because right now, like if I'm playing against you, I'm stupid. I'm not that stupid. After I kill Rograk once and I realize none of the things you're playing care about Rograk, I'm probably going to stop removing him. So you could throw in 3 to 5 equipments that give you value on either attack or combat damage that would motivate people to kill your commander. And that would give you something to do. Or, you know, now that MH3 is out, you can use any of the flare cycle, well, in your colors. Anything that says sacrifice a creature but doesn't care about the creature's stat line, like Evolutionary Leap, is going to be hot for you. Lave, thank you for coming by the stream. I appreciate that so much, my friend. But that's what I'd recommend, is make your toilet and space station and sex robot talk to each other a little bit more. I love the spirit. This is a good gimmick, and I may not rip you off because I'll credit you, but I will rip you off. We're going to move on to Lindo's deck. Deck is designed to eliminate slivers before they are a threat. Happy, aka Grimgrin, eats slivers in the early game before generating bullshit amount of tokens, sacrificing to get around Shroud, Ward, etc. Huh? Oh, I googled scary. Okay, it's meant to be scary. That's good to know. Make sure I get tags on. No tags, okay. 162, 39 lands. Honestly, this is high. It's a little bit high. If you are, I would say, like, once you're above 38, I say if you have fewer than 33, you're smoking crack. If you have more than 38, you've probably taken too big of a Xanax, unless you have a landfall strategy. So if I see, I will officially recant if I see Rune Crab in here. So make zombie, make zombie, make zombie. Turn something into a copy of something else. 0 cost zombies. Oh, okay. Well, Grimgrin's a zombie. Cool. Ooh. We got a little bathroom emergency coming up, gang. So I'll be right back. You guys look at this deck. I expect you to have a breakdown for me when I return. I swear to God, if any of you try to sell any of my shit, that's why nothing's in frame. I'm watching you. Okay, gang, I'm back. The toilet flooded. I panicked, but we're okay now. All right, so here's what I'll say about this deck. You need to decide if you're a zombie deck or a good deck. And that's not racist against zombies. They're just worse than good people. The Grimgrin is a zombie, which makes sense. But Grimgrin doesn't give a fuck about being a zombie. He does not rep the culture in any way, shape, or form. He is not going back to his neighborhood and planting money trees. He is not volunteering. He is not lifting people up. He just cares that you have a thing to sacrifice, and then he'll get bigger. So you have a Voltron strategy kind of set up, except for the fact that he's quite expensive. And so really the most powerful thing you have in this commander is you have an on-demand, instant speed, zero-cost sack outlet. That is the most powerful thing that Grimgrin does, is that he lets you sacrifice another creature to make him bigger. And so you have a pretty good setup for an aristocrats deck, and there are a couple zombie loops that would be like win the game instantly or at least generate a ton of value. But going oops all zombies, read the primer. Okay, yeah. This is what I read that primer already before the poopy times. Before the poopy times, we read this primer. And same thing, if you want to do early removal, that doesn't necessitate I play a zombie deck now. Like if we're talking about eliminating slivers before they are a threat, this deck is a very slow way to do it. The counterspells, a counterspell makes sense, except for the X cost. Like Wash Away is good, but you would rather just have double blue counterspell. And then everything else in this deck is buff zombies, which I don't doubt you can make some zombies, but this is not a I'm gonna come in hot in the early game and I'm gonna let them fucking know. They're gonna regret the day they ever tried to sliver in this hole, okay? That is not what's happening when you play Grimgrin. Counter argument, zombies are dope. I don't deny that. That's not what the primer says. If you submit a primer to me and say zombies are dope, I will judge your deck by the rules, the rubric, are zombies dope? This deck submitted a primer to me that says we're here to eat slivers and we are here to be scary. Therefore, that is what you are being judged against. And as chat has caught on to, we're talking about shutting down slivers, and we have Coat of Goddamn Arms. A 5-mana artifact that we are going to hide in our hand until the sliver player is already dead. Because otherwise, they are just going to fucking get us. And the way you stop a sliver player is you have a couple counter spells to stop them from resolving whatever dipshit 5-mana commander they picked that's going to crack the game open for them. You have a healthy amount of mana rocks, which makes sense. You have a lot of lands, which makes sense. You do not have a lot, if any, card draw. You have Village Rites. Yeah, you got Village Rites. We have an extra turn spell. And we don't have card draw. We have thought... This is hateful. Honestly, this is my favorite This is my favorite card in the deck because this drives home just how hateful the deck is that you're going to Thought Season Commander. God bless you for that. It's normally on a body. Okay. Not card draw, not card draw, not card draw. Okay. Forgotten Creation. Card draw. Almost card draw. I'll give you half a point for Gisa and Geralf. I'll give you half a point for Hordewing Scab because it's card selection. And you have to, it's conditional. Two and a half for Soul and Tumor because that is rough card draw. Okay, here's our first real one. So we're up to 3.5. 4.5. So we have 4.5 things that draw cards. And for the most part, nothing we're doing is threatening early. I'll do a playtest to confirm, but I doubt this deck presents a meaningful threat until turn like 8 plus. Okay, we're going to feel bad because we missed our first land drop. But we got our second one. And now we have the Entomber. So we'll choose Zombie. Can't play Grimgrin, not even close. We need something different than what we've currently got. Because we have a lot of big splashy things. So we'll discard Stitcher Geralf. We'll get a land. And then I mean, none of our cards are good. Well, Village Rights this guy away. Then I guess we play Grimgrin on turn 6. He wouldn't untap, but we're going to do stuff to untap him anyway. And then we don't have any creatures to... We do not have any creatures to sacrifice to him. We could Dark... I guess we want Signet on top. So it's turn 7. And the most threatening thing we've done is fill our own graveyard. And we've had Go for the Throat to respond to one thing the Sliver player has done, and that's about it. So we'll go turn 1. We'll play that tapped. We'll go to our next turn. This is a much better opener. Here we can... I guess Gravecrawler. So we start amassing zombies. So now we have a chump blocker, and we can turn those chump blockers dying into card draw. Like this is the most perfect thing the deck can ask for, and we're holding up one piece of interaction. We're holding up one piece of interaction to stop the Sliver player for one rotation. We can Gravecrawler with Dread Horde, but we also don't have a way to sack Gravecrawler. Oh, this gets us a thing back, but I mean, we're not going to hold a land in our hand for no reason. Yes, Goblin. Yet. Okay. The timing of the game matters when we say we're stopping a Sliver player early. Another thing you can do is just not play against the Sliver player. Okay, so we'll run out this. Sure, Sky Diamond. fucking hang out. Yeah, so we have a ton of cards that do basically nothing. We have too many cards that are super hopeful mana dumps. Like Dark Salvation is an incredibly optimistic mana dump. Dread Summons is an incredibly optimistic mana dump. Empty the Laboratory is a good mana dump once you have a lot of stuff. I think your table just has a very like different idea about what qualifies as fast and strong. For having 39 lands, it's crazy you missed a land drop. Here's the thing, it's not crazy because even when your land mix is correct, normal variance is enough that if you do not have enough ways to draw additional cards, you will inevitably miss land drops. In a 99 card singleton format, if you do not have ways to draw more than one card a turn, it is inevitable that you will draw your deck in the wrong order. And the only two ways to address that are to have a deck where there is not a right order that you need to draw it in, or to have a deck where you can draw more than one card a turn. This deck has an order that it needs to draw this fucking deck in, because it needs to get Grimgrin. It also like it doesn't really eat slivers. Like any sliver deck that is not 4 bars deep is going to run the 1s and 2s on this deck instantly. And I'm not sure that there's a way to... I don't think you can make a scary Grimgrin deck that is truly zombie focused unless you make it way more invested on self-mill and reanimate, and even then that kind of abandons the Grimgrin specific thing. Like if you want to do a very strong Grimgrin deck, you need to have more ways to reliably make like 1 token a turn. So the thing that said on upkeep amass, that's great. The thing that says spend 50 mana to get a bunch of zombies, that's less great in any realistic commander game. And so I would either reorient the deck towards abusing Grimgrin's ability to sack your own board and get things like, you know what a sliver player won't get back up from? You grave packed a motherfucker once with a board full of zombies, they're not getting back up. If you say, I just talked to my boy Erebos once, when you have Grimgrin out and like Gravecrawler or a way to make a couple zombies, they're not getting back up. If you cast Wash Away once on turn 4 and then are out of responses on turn 6 because you're holding Empty the Laboratory, Ghoul's Night Out, Dread Summons, and Dark Salvation, you're going to fucking die. You can't play with these slivers players. Okay, you cannot. And so I would say you even need fewer lands. You need to cut the huge mana dumps. Endless Ranks of the Dead is very win more. And you either need to commit to Zombie Overrun, in which case Grimgrin shouldn't be your commander, or you need to commit to Aristocrat Control, in which case most of this zombie shit doesn't need to be here. Or you need to commit to a theme that has nothing to do with the deck being good. I'm giving you this advice because the deck's theme right now is it's good and it bangs ass against slivers, which is not true. You told me a lie. And so to fix it, you can either make it good by making a deck that actually cares about Grimgrin, or you can make a deck that actually cares about zombies. But right now, you have a Grimgrin deck where the 99 barely cares about Grimgrin, And Grimgrin barely cares about the 99. Because you don't have Voltron payoffs, you don't have sacrifice payoffs, and the zombie stuff in here barely cares. So I would pick your lane and then I would hit the gas. Right now we're in between lanes. We're going to move on to Outer Zeven, aka Zach's scary deck. Deck strategy is Mimeoplasm and Reanimation. Mirror Mad Phantasm is the copy target for the Mimeoplasm, will let you mill the whole library. Timed right, I can close the game out that turn, but it also works great with Out of the Tombs and Self-Mill. Necrotic Ooze, Phyrexian Devourer, and Sage of Hours is a bunch of extra turns. This sounds like a scary deck. So this is, the gimmick is Ooze is fucked up. What's up, Zeven? I see you. $1,500, 35 lands. That's probably bang on. Let's check your tags. Are we drawing? No tags. I love it. Except for a little guy. I like Psychic Frog. And you probably got shit in your graveyard. Oh, honestly, Psychic Frog is hot for this deck. So, enters as a copy as 1. Number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the power of the other. So we want to reanimate. We want to cheat our creatures out. We have blue in our colors. We have blue in our colors. We have black Rhystic Study. Oh, Survival of the Fittest is tough with Mimeoplasm. Okay, we've got Self-Mill. We've got Creature Cheat. And you even like the adventure side of this. God damn. God damn, Jimmy. Alright, Dork. Consuming Aberration is pretty hot here. Just for more mill. Now we are all in on the graveyard's gotta be full. We cannot afford for the graveyard to not be full. Hermit Druid's great for that. Convoke is a great this is just a Mimeoplasm target. Likeness Looter's great. Extinction's great. So Mirror Mad. Shuffle it into your library, reveal cards from the top until a card named Mirror Mad. Oh, okay, so you can shuffle Mimeoplasm in, and then your whole deck goes away because it's not named Mirror Mad Phantasm anymore. Got it. Oh, Necrotic Ooze is fucking crazy. Oh, Phyrexian Devourer is sick as hell. Phyrexian Dreadnought also crazy. Sage of Hours, highly crazy. Toxrill is maniacal. Tyrannic Rex is also a good target. Walking Ballista is interesting. I'm assuming you have an infinite to do with this. Oh no, it's Necrotic Ooze plus Devourer plus Ballista. Ah, you can just ping for 1,000,000. Yeah, okay. I like that as a non-infinite combo. Then we have put a bunch of shit into the grave, reanimate everything. Editor, when you get to this, we need to this deck is just one giant advertisement for Bojuka Bog. It is just one massive advertisement for why you need graveyard hate. You need targeted graveyard hate. You need to stop these motherfuckers. I mean, let's surveil. We probably want that on top. Keep that out. Get our dorks out. Everything's a swamp. So here we get into, we're a little, without Consecrated Sphinx, we would be a little bit stuck. Because we didn't have self-mill from the outset. And so we're going to draw, what, 6 cards? Then we're going to get to our next turn. We play Yavimaya. Buried Alive. I don't know the deck well enough to know what 3 you would grab, but I'm assuming at least one is Devourer. And then another could be Ulamog. That's horrifying. And then after we put those in, we could mill ourselves for 4. Great. And then we win, right? Turn 6, we win. That's fucked up and terrible. We certainly want... I mean, God, we want Remora on top, but we also don't have... We don't have the colors to play it, so I'm going to move it. We'll get Deathrite out. Then we'll get stuck on... Oh no, we can play Agadeem's flipped. We'll pay 3 to do Fanatic of Ronos. That enters tapped. We'll get Devoted Druid. So now we have Animate Dead, we have Toxic Deluge. I guess Defense of the Heart. Right, we're working with 5 reliable mana. Okay, we kind of whiffed on this. Oh, now we have a ton of lands. We have 7 lands in this opening hand. Okay, so we have Tomb, Command Tower. I mean, I guess Command Tower, Vamp Tutor, but I don't know what we're tutoring for. It's interesting because once it's going, it's incredibly good. All of those playtests felt like, except for the game with Consecrated Sphinx, which doesn't matter because this card is cheating, all of those cards, it did feel like I was struggling a little bit for something to do. We have a lot of ramp, and I'm not sure we need all of it more than we need either additional tutors or additional card draw, especially like Golgari card draw, which can be like, I'm not convinced there's not something you can cut for Grisly Salvage. There are 3 people before you, Skyrat. So maybe like 50 minutes to an hour. Like, I'm not convinced that your worst creature is better than Grisly Salvage, especially... Well, I guess Devoted Druid is a combo payoff, but I think your top end's acceptable. Like, I think your top end is... I think the stuff you do after Mimeoplasm is online is already crazy. And if anything, I think you have too many ways to go crazy once the Mimeoplasm is online. And it looked like there was a ton of things that were stopping you early. Like, it felt very Kid in the Candy Store. Because in this first hand we have Interaction, which is always good. We have Thing that makes us go crazy. Thing that makes us go crazy. No, 0 ways to start going crazy. We can hide away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put Vamp Tutor under there. And what do we need? We can play the card if we have... And now we got another way to go crazy, go stupid at the end of the game. And we another way, go crazy, go stupid after we get there, but we're not there yet. Now turn 5, we have Ristic Study. And so now I'll say one person didn't pay for it. But we don't have anything in graveyards, and we don't have a way to discard. We don't have, like, we would love some. You need to get fucking frantic, my dog. Zeven, you need to get worried. You got to get frantic up in this bitch. We got to be mulching. We got to be salvaging Grizzly. I think we have way too many great things to do once Mimeoplasm is popping, and we do not have enough things to do in the first 3 turns of the game, or even first 4 turns of the game, to make Mimeoplasm pop. They got the 2 mana dork that can mill too. I do remember seeing that, and they have Skull Prophet. So what if you accidentally mill 60 cards off of Hermit Druid? Market Gaming, if you accidentally mill 60 cards off of Hermit Druid in a Mimeoplasm deck, what you do is you win the game next turn. The ideal number of cards to mill with Skull Prophet off a Mimeoplasm deck is 98, so that you can draw 1 more and then cast Mimeoplasm and fucking win. Or cast Rise of the Dark Realms and fucking win. Do not be afraid of milling yourself too much, because it basically does not exist. Decking yourself is a phenomenon that happens at a much lower rate than not decking yourself quickly enough to participate in the Magic the Gathering game. So I think So Zach, I love what you did. You have too many toys. This is... You went off to college, you had a budget of your own, and you spent it all on Hot Pockets, and I need you to go back to the grocery store and get some broccoli. You need to get some bell peppers. You need to get some... Well, not this. It's not really strong, but it would be funny. You need to get some fiber in your diet, and you need to shit a little bit more. Because once the toilet is clogged, you are the greatest toilet snake in the world. Doesn't Mirror Mad help with this too? It does. I'm saying they don't have enough of them. They do have, like, they have the pieces. They do have pieces to get it going. They just don't have... enough. We already suggested Frantic Search. We're going to move on to Leonardo de Kerm, their scary deck. I started building this as soon as Onyxia got spoiled. It's quickly become my favorite pet deck. The core idea is that enchantments brought back from the grave are tokens, and therefore they can be multiplied through mechanics like Populate. And more importantly, the cards that every Selesnya player has ever played since the dawn of time. Those are my words, not theirs. The extra fun comes from the fact that if you keep populating Doubling Season, or even just reanimate a second token doubler, you start to reach a bullshit singularity that can create more tokens than there are atoms in the universe. All the Grave Tutors in the deck usually search for a Doubling Season doubler first, with Silver Bullet enchantments like Aura Shards and Grasp of Fate being secondary, so in practice, deck plays one of 4 ways. Dumb Baby Jail, Boring Enchantress deck, Bullshit Singularity, CEDH Christmas Land. Constellation is a fun mechanic. If at least 3 token doublers are on the board, reanimating Grim Guardian causes 8 tokens of it to enter, 8 Grim Guardians see 8 enchantments enter, and drain the table for 64 life. I've gotten kills using this combo as early as turn 5 or 6, but Grim Guardian works as a win con in situations 3 and 4. Okay, so the attitude we're going to take towards this, the deck in one word, tetration. I need to look that up. Ah. Iterated exponentiation. Also, Skyrim Jedi, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. Let's pop this open. So from the perspective of a scary deck, I hate helping the enchantment players, and I hate helping the token players, but the way I'm going to fix you is we're going to try to remove the situation of Dumb Baby Gel, which you said happens if you get Bojuka Bog or you don't hit ways to fill the graves with the enchantments you need. So we have Clever Concealment Phase Out. Oh, right. So we're making creature copies of our enchantments on ETB and attack. $4,000 because we are down with proxies. Gang, gang. 34 lands can work depending on your ramp package. So ramp. Doomwake, I think, got to go. Okay, land ramp at 3 is not what I was looking for when I said if your ramp package is good enough, 34 is fine. Protection. Ephemerate. Flawless Maneuver, Heroic. Rootborn, that's good. Sterling Grove, that's good. In terms of just strong cards, you do want... Like, I'll keep it a stack. In most situations, you are down to sacrifice your commander for this effect. Also, the weirdest one, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate your support in those Bezos bucks. Welcome to the dog home. Oh, remember to stay hydrated. Thank you, Delvagor. In terms of protecting your enchantments, Flare of Fortitude, you are willing to sack Onyxia. Legion Loyalty is a lot, in my opinion. So far, I'm seeing a lot of... Not a lot of. I won't say a lot. Mirari's Wake and Legion Loyalty... Oh, they're enchantments, so... Never mind. So you're never casting these. You're only discarding them to cheat. Sarah's Sanctum makes sense. Draw power. 3. Deeply irresponsible. Deeply irresponsible. We have 5 ramp total. One of which is 5 mana, so we can totally fail to get to. Alright, immediately I doubt you have enough ramp. Grave Filling 9, that's also super not enough. Okay, so we're low on lands, we're low on ramp, and this is why you're going to Dumb Baby Jail. So first and foremost, you have 13 things that are going to make your tokens go crazy. You are going to cut 5 minimum. 5 minimum. Right now. You're going to pick the worst 5. And you are going to put in more things that fill your graveyard to make sure that you get to play with the good 8 that remain. You're just doing this to be mean. I respect it, but it has no place in a scary deck. This has a place. This has a place in a spooky deck. In a spooky deck, this makes sense. You want to do mean shit just to be mean. Scary business means we are making it happen. And to make it happen, we cannot spend 45 minutes Googling the rulings on Chains of Mephistopheles. Mayos, you can just tag things with multiple names in a deck so they show up multiple times. Full Flowering is an incredibly aspirationally effective card in a deck that has Arby's money. Okay, this is a filet mignon. You have 732 on your MasterCard, and that is 7.32. You cannot get a roast beef combo meal, let alone a spell with 2 X's in the cost right now, okay? What the fuck are we talking about? Squirming Emergence is potentially playable. Sphere of Safety, I honestly think is... it's obviously not bad because it's an enchantment that cares about the number of enchantments you have. It is coward shit. In terms of 5-mana enchantments, we would almost certainly rather have a card that helped us win rather than prevented us from losing. I'm weak, you see. Insidious Roots is a good call out. Let me make sure that works on everything for us. No, this is when creature cards leave the graveyard, which we're not doing, unfortunately. They are working pretty hard to try to get Populate to work with a scary deck. Grim Guardian's fine. Sanctum Weaver's fine. It's not stacks, but we'll let it go. WinCon question mark. So having X cost spells as your WinCon only works in the world where you've gotten to keep, where you have gotten to play and keep Nyx Bloom Ancient. If you want to, I'm thinking ramp with the tokens, it's possible, but again, it kind of requires people to leave you alone. It requires people to totally let you cook, which is a dangerous proposition. Let me see how it plays. We have 1 land, which is reasonable on 34. We did get lucky, and we have one of our land ramps. We got unlucky, and we're going to get rid of an enchantment, but we don't care because we're filling the grave. We'll dump another enchantment. We'll keep getting unlucky. And a lot of people at this point will think that I'm being unfair and that I should have just mulliganed again. But I'm proving a point. And the point that I'm proving is that the deck doesn't have card draw. The deck does not have a large number of ways to do anything at low mana values. And so if you ever get unlucky like this, you've sat here for 8 turns before playing 3 visits. So we can run it back. This hand looks much more playable. We have Sylvan Library off the top. That's very strong for us. So we'll play Sylvan Library. We'll draw 2 additional cards. These can go back. And now we have Setessan Champion. So now we have something that says draw a card. So go to our next card, next turn, draw 2 additional. These can both go back. We don't need these yet. We can get Tribute out, and we'll draw a card off Setessan. Go to our next turn, 2 additional. Now we've missed a land drop, but we have Cemetery Tampering. So now we're going to mill our on our upkeep. We're going to draw because we have Setessan Champion. And so the only thing holding this deck together is that we got Sylvan Library and then we got Setessan Champion. And what those cards have in common is that they say draw some fucking magic cards. This deck is okay with drawing them to the graveyard, but you do need to draw them. And if somebody ever shoots Setessan Champion in the head very early, the playtest we just did falls apart. Here we have Entomb. We don't have the mana to use with it, but we get it off the top. God bless. Second Harvest can go in the graveyard because fuck that card. We will Entomb, and then we're going to Entomb. I'm going to Entomb Doubling Season since that's the most like generically good thing we have. Turn 3. Now, Life from the Loam is great. Having Dredge is great. I would highly recommend Dackmore Salvage. Dredge land. You need ways to mill. You need Black Rhystic Study, which Black Rhystic Study is Ripples of Undeath. You would even accept non-enchantment ways to mill. I would say that I don't think Pillage the Bog will work for you. No, this is lands you control, and you do not have lands, my friend. But mulch, you could play mulch. You need to drop, yeah, I would say drop 5 things from tokens. I would drop at least 1 of these anthems. I would drop Chains of Mephistopheles and Trouble in Pairs. And I would just fucking slam, and I would drop Full Flowering. And I would just like slam in, like, you see this curve? You see this fucking Parmesan Reggiano cheese wheel straight from Italy you've tried to smuggle into this deck right here. We're trying to pay for New York strip steaks with an Arby's gift card, and it's not working. And the way you're gonna fix that is right now you have a ton of cards that work really well when your commander is online and fail to function when your commander isn't online. You want to cut it down to your favorite things. It doesn't have to be the best if you have specific pet cards that you really like, but you want to cut it down to your favorite expensive things. And then you got to put in this 2 mana and this 3 mana section more things that guarantee they'll be in the graveyard, such that when you cast Onyxia for the first time, you should never have to cast Onyxia unless you have a great hit in your graveyard, and you want to build a deck that facilitates having a great hit in the graveyard by turn 5. And that way you can live in a world where the only situations you get into are situation 3 and situation 4, and you don't have situation 1, because it's very apparent what's causing situation 1 to happen. Miles, yeah, please drop those Rex. We are going to move on to De Kieran's silly deck. The goal of this deck is mill yourself and use a no cards in library win con or mill everyone else. Between self mill and Splendid Reclamation, your most likely win con is 10 Gates and Maze's End. The deck has plenty of Don't Touch Me cards and tutors, lacks control but could be better optimized. It was made from my original idea of having a per tap everything and keep everything tapped deck of the commander plus embargo, but that deck never works. So we're doing mill deck. I don't know how silly this is. I think mill is silly. Mill has a ton of haters though. Okay, Arkellos Lagoon Mystic. Interesting. So here's our... Oh, let me check tags. Combo Infinite Self Mill. Yeah, this is not silly. Hee me when I mill my deck on turn 3. Where the fuck is it? Ristic Tutor is funny. The idea that no one's ever paying 2. If people are letting you get away with this, you deserve the win. 38 lands, pretty heavy. Archive Trap is crazy, bro. Mill. Real I'm weak, you see. You don't have to counter the tutor, though. You have to pay 2 colorless, and then they don't get to tutor in the first place. Like, if you only have 2 mana open, but this is like the person that doesn't have counter spells can tap the 2 forests they were hanging out with, and then you don't even have to worry about what they tutored for. Iceberg Cancrix. So this is our landfall thing. Lots of Jaces. Do we have... We have green, which is... Ow. Mind crank. Get specific win con cards back. So we want to win by milling ourselves. I mean by... I mean, the simplest thing you could do, or that would kind of non-bow with another thing in this deck. Whenever a creature an opponent controls is put in the graveyard, that's optimistic. The first thing that needs to change is this commander gotta get fucked. I think in terms of Sultai... There is a Maze's End here. But first and foremost, there's just simply no reason. We're not using the turtle for anything. Muldrotha would be much better. The Muldrossi would be a lot better. I would personally recommend the Wise Mothman to have a backup plan, because mill is bad. Mill is not a strong strategy. You know what is a strong strategy? Eating people's ass with your big moth mandibles. And so you don't need to change anything about the 99 to make this a functional Mothman deck, because Mothman is just going to let you grow your board as you mill. And if they kill Mothman, you don't particularly care, because you'd rather be milling anyway. You could also do Sidisi. This would be another more direct way, but it would be self-mill. You could also do Tassiger. So first and foremost, change the commander. You could also do the Master Transcendent. And then in terms of good ways to mill yourself, we're missing a lot of... And here's where the problem becomes, you've self-reported as a silly deck. But if we're doing a silly deck, we need a more dedicated theme than I'm going to mill myself. Because if we optimize a self-mill deck, it's very simple to make that a scary deck without too much effort. We can put in... I mean, truly, you could just put in zero non-basics. You could do 0 non-basics Hermit Druid, draw to Hermit Druid. Let it rock. And then I would say a second copy of the effect that will let you win for having an empty library is very important. Oh yeah, you can tunnel vision yourself. But that does have to be something actually in the deck. I think overall right now you are caught between the worlds of scary and silly, because you had a silly idea and then realized that the silly idea sucks and you wanted a good deck. And so to try to build a good deck, you tried to do self-mill, and now we have all these tutors. We have some potential combos. We have the Maze's End thing. I think right now you are all over the place. And if you want to build a mill deck that is strong, then there's a ton of auto includes to make sure you are milling. There's Grisly Salvage. There's Mulch. You already have Angel of Suffering. You already have combos in there. There's Hermit Druid. Uh, this is not quite as good, but that's for the previous deck. Grapple with the past. Yeah. And then the anything with dredge. Okay. We got to do advanced for that. So Dakmore salvage. You could honestly put in all of these things and then it'll work better. But if you want a like immediate day one, the deck is going to feel better, just put in the Wise Mothman as your commander instead of the commander you currently have. And in terms of more targeted help, we kind of have to decide that after you decide what you want the deck to be, because mill is very, very broad, and milling somebody else is a lot different than milling yourself, because it's a lot easier to mill. Like if you said, I'm going to make a deck and it's going to mill out somebody, I don't care who, 9 times out of 10, you are going to mill yourself out first before you mill out everybody else. And the times you mill out everybody else is going to be when they don't pay for Rhystic Tutor, they don't kill Bruvac, and they don't counter Maddening Cacophony. And then you get to do it. Every other situation, you don't get to fucking do it. So I just wouldn't try. I would either dedicate to, I'm going to mill myself and do something with that. I'm going to mill the table symmetrically, and then you can work with like Mothman. Or I'm going to make the turtle work, at which point, seek Jesus. We're going to move on to I'm Weak UC's spooky deck. Hey Maul, this deck belongs to a friend of mine. He introduced me to your content, and after having my Get a Clue deck roasted, thought it was only right to have you roast his favorite deck. Here's the primer. This deck was the first commander I ever built. It was originally filled with an assortment of random dragons and dragon-related cards I had sitting in my bulk boxes. Since then, the deck has went through a metamorphosis, with every card myself or I'm Weak UC has pulled or purchased until it reached its current iteration. The deck is designed to ramp up to powerful dragons, double their power, and beat everyone in the face. Scary dragon noises. Alright, so we've got a Scaly on our hands, folks, and now we get a front row seat to which dragons they're most attracted to. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. That's certainly a type. That is certainly a type, my friend. I mean, who doesn't? First, I just want to check your curve. Yeah, that's a single child ass curve. That is a never had to share dinner looking mana curve. I'm presuming this is every 3 mana ramp spell in the game. And then it's just all dragons. Cocaine. So I'm presuming this is all the ramp. Exploration with 35 lands is crazy. I think Reckless Barbarian when the deck is $300. This seems like a standby from when the deck was stuff you found in the Wendy's dumpster. And I think you should update it to match the rest of the deck. Creatures having haste makes sense. I honestly would rather... Hey, look at that. It's better. It's better Tuk Tuk Rebel Fort. Saffron, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. Get swole and speedy. Extra combats. Barb class. Garen Brig. Crucible of Fire. Tempest. Stampede. Where'd that come from? Yeah, Barbarian class says pay 6 mana. Creatures you control have haste. So if nothing else, this needs to be dumped for Bitter Reunion. No touchy. That is very no touchy. Road to Return. The Horde. I think that's pretty hopeful card draw. Lots of very hopeful card draw. Who said you can have that? Some mean stuff. Okay, we once again have identified a lost 8-year-old in the middle of the Walmart, desperately trying to hold on to 8 different Tonka trucks. Honestly, I think dragons like Steel Hellkite are coward behavior. You're the dragon player. You be the problem. Why are you trying to control other players' behaviors? You should be doing the most problematic thing on the board at all times. Immediately I'm seeing nothing that says draw cards except for 3 mana and above spells that require you to already have very strong creatures in play. Oh wow, would you look at that? A hand where we're just gonna hang out for a while. I mean, fuck it. We're sacking this guy. We're going to try to play Magic. We're going to do our best to play Magic. So we're going to swing. He'll be 6. We'll hope he gets through. We will have 1 mana open. This is yet another all-star from the days of the Wendy's deep fryer. So and this is already dead now. And then we have nothing to play. Play that. Or well, it would make more sense to play Kodama. We can't put anything else in because it needs equal or lesser CMC. But we can tap out for a Tarka and then put in Ganax. Then we can do that and that. And now we're doing a whole lot of stuff and we are praying to God that nobody ever touches us. So we'll enter tapped. We'll play the Reckless Barbarian and once again try to have him hold the entire deck together. I'm going to sack this for Lathless and to equip Lathless with this. So we make 2 5/5s. That's good. Play a Mana Rock. That's good. Dragon Tempest. And then we quadruple. So because we got Roaming Throne, everything's pretty hot. We have 14 dragons in the big scary dragon deck. I'm going to keep it so real with you, Bestie. You have so many fucking trains in your hand, and you need fewer trains, and you need an Amex black card to pay for the trains with. Like, I think Overwhelming Stampede is usually worse unnatural growth. Crucible of Fire. I don't know, man. I would rather touch some fucking cards. Like, you need to... This deck can so easily draw itself in the wrong order and sit with its hands under its butt. And if it doesn't have any theme other than, I like these 12 big dragons, your cocaine needs to be more card selection and less pure mana ramp. Because for the most part, all this deck was doing was, I'm going to play a land for turn every turn, and then hope that I get a good dragon the turn after this one. And that is, you cannot put together a deck off of hopes and prayers like that, especially not a dragon deck, because they are coming to get you. They are coming to get you. And you need to be aware of that. And this deck is not currently aware of that. And you're one board wipe away. As someone with 2 Dragon decks, I can say from experience, the most dragon decks are 1 board wipe away from crying in the corner. Yeah, and I mean, the way you don't cry in the corner is to have ways to draw cards that do not rely on you keeping your big dragons around. Because right now, every way you have to draw an additional card is, I already have a big dragon. And I think you either need some cooler dragons that you can play lower in the curve, or you need to cut some of these dragon related accessories for ways to draw cards to actually play your dragons. Because at 12 big dragon go burrs, you are lucky to see one of these every game. And Steel Hellkite is like a mid as hell dragon, by the way, too. And so you need some of the floor for this. The starting level is card selection, right? We're not even going to go positive on the cards. We're just going to say, I have these cards in my hand that I don't like. Swap them out and get some cards that I do like. Steel Hellkite is a trauma response to your clue deck. Honestly, wrong trauma response. I realize people have feelings. Sometimes your feelings are wrong, and the way you have reacted to trauma is objectively incorrect. You are a dragon deck. Eat their ass. Don't worry about artifact control. Who the fuck are you, an Esper player? Don't be like that. You have Thrakkus the Butcher. You double the power of each dragon you control when you fucking swing. Kill him, or her, or them, whoever they are, and whatever problem they present. Don't be worried about, oh, I gotta stop these tokens. What am I gonna do about all these tokens? Oh no! Murder! That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna murder them. Or as Mayoson's Knifert said, yeah, you could do the dragon that steals artifacts. But even that, don't live your life based on this loser. Based on somebody who's killing you with tokens. You need to be better than that. And you need to draw some goddamn cards. You need to draw some goddamn cards. Broken Wings is also crazy. So's crack open. This also seems like a trauma response. Dragon's Fire and a deck with 12 dragons. That is hopes and prayers. Klaus Will, hopes and prayers. Stop it. Stop it. Get with the program. Get with the fucking program. At minimum, you need to have some shit that is like check the top 4 of my deck for a creature. Because you only have 20. In a deck that's about big dragons going burr, I can't help but notice only 1/5 of your cards even have a physical presence in this world. I'll give you Descent of Dragons because it says dragons, but I'm with Spellbreaker. What the fuck are we doing with Scute Swarm? You're the dragon player. So yeah, some of this cocaine, you need less, a little bit less mana cocaine, and you need more card draw cocaine. Or even just card selection cocaine. Anything to make sure you get some playable cards into your grubby little hands. Alright, we're moving on to Skyrat, and thankfully my brainworm remembered to ping them. So we're going to move on to Skyrat's spooky deck. This is a concept deck based around the upcoming Ass Creed set. I tried to keep myself to morally good / ambiguous characters only since it's in keeping with the Assassin's Creed franchise. Do an Italian accent. See, I remembered. I am Ezio Auditore. History Channel After Dark. Did you know? It was not actually aliens who built the pyramids, no. It was the hyper-advanced proto-humans who created us, who then made the pyramids. In Discovery Channel's new historical drama, It's a Me Mario, learn about the truth of the world based on the real events. Tags on. 35 lands, that's a good boy. Commander Ezio Auditore di Firenze. Menace, assassin spells have free running. Whenever Ezio deals combat damage, you can pay Wooburg if that player has 10 or less life, and when you do, they lose the game. Honestly, that is disgusting but fair. Right? That is a finisher. You have less than 10 life, you're on the way out. If I said, when I deal combat damage to you, I can pay some mana, and if you are over 80, you die. Sure, it's murder. Sure, it's a crime. Is it that bad? If you're 80, how much longer could you have? And that's what this is. So I'm okay with that. We have 33 creatures. The Brotherhood's allies. See, we have Aragorn, Aurelia, Cleopatra, Karlach, Jaspar Flint, Sox, and Vihan. Okay. So I see the outlaw synergies coming through. Making your creatures unblockable to get, I'm assuming, the free run. That makes sense. Shed the shroom and shut the fuck up. It's a me Mario. I have never done the Italian accent before, so this is the best you are going to get. The Brotherhood. All of these red. All of these red? Spoiled. Not legal yet, but soon. But they are outlaws. What is free running? Okay, Colin. So, because you have the Menace, and you're going to be able to guarantee a hit, free running means instead of paying for that spell mana cost, you can instead pay whatever the free running cost is, as long as an assassin or your commander dealt combat damage. I do think we are moving to Spanish. Hold on. Let me look up how to do an Italian accent. A sound like ah. E sound like eh. I sounds like E, and U sounds like oo. Azzurro. Elongate double consonants. Polo. Better. I'm not waving my... We gotta talk with the hands. Okay. Okay, let's get back to it. It's a me, Mario. I'm gonna do that as the reset. Kaito. And the Wandering Emperor. Why is she wandering? Is what I want to know. First strike, meaningless. Exile, Etap Creech, meaningless. Samurai, notably not an assassin. Okay, Yasuke, not here yet. Buongiorno, we do not need her. Brotherhood's history. Catelyn, notably, never a member of the Brotherhood. Rakdos, notably, never a member of the Brotherhood. This is legendary creature, Death Trigger. How many legendary creatures we have? Oh boy, we got a lot. Oh boy, we got a lot of them. Okay, I believe you. Whenever a legendary creature deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. How many legendary creatures? Okay. Oh, that's a lot. Historically accurate spell casting. Assassin's Trophy. Okay. It makes sense. Safe Haven. You're stretching a little. I think you're stretching a little. I don't know if I ever seen one of I don't know if I've ever seen Ezio in a tree. I don't know that I've ever seen Ezio hiding out in a tree. Tenants of the Brotherhood. You making this up. It's a me, Mario. Oh, Luigi. Okay, how do I get into an actual Italian accent? I'm doing my best. Virtue of persistence. You're really stretching it. I think we're generally there. However, where the fuck is this treasure synergy from? And why are we doing extra combat? How many channel points to stop this bit? I won't stop. I will never stop. Let me look at your curve, my brother. Ridiculous. 4, 5? Ridiculous. How many? Oh, we have free running. Never mind. I forgot about the free run. None of our mana costs are real. I mean, vigilance haste on every creature we play. I believe it. I may not like it, but I believe it. Wow, look at that. Wow, look at that. There we go. Turn 5. We play creature. Ah. We give him fear. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Try like a Sopranos accent. I've never watched Soprano. Never once. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Oh yeah, that is a little... No, that's worse. I lose it already. You seem a good man. I hate to kill you. Okay, no, the Inigo voice. You seem a good man. I hate to kill you. Desperately, 5 colors. You cannot be worrying this much about which card you're going to draw. You tried so hard. You tried so hard to make sure that you were going to include everybody from all of the games, that you have prevented any of them from getting their time in the spotlight. Oh, he's a Spaniard though. God damn it. Anyway, you have tried to make the World of Warcraft of Assassin's Creed games. And there's a reason. There's a reason they haven't done that in any of these games yet. Because it would be bad. Because you could not focus enough on any particular mechanic from the games. And that's what's happened here. This is in Greek. They tried Skull and Bones and it was a failure. Why? They spread themselves too thin. Exactly what you are doing here. You are too little butter on too much bread, my friend. And you seem a good fellow, I hate to kill you. But you need to cut some of these motherfuckers right now. I think Evie Fryer. I think the fries, little hopeful. I think Wither probably good. I mean, quite frankly. Oh, Skyrat! I've been doing this voice for 15 minutes, Skyrat. I've been doing this voice forever, just for you. You will listen. You will have to go back and watch the. I've been vamping. But anyway, Skyrat, we're now at the important part. We're now at the important part of the feedback. It's always been this bad. It's always been this good, is what you mean. So you have tried to fit in. You have 35 lands. You have 64 non-land cards. You have tried to make these 64 non-lands all playable. Mistake. Mistake number 1. Your next mistake. Your deck cares primarily about black mana. I do not care what your 99 is about. Your deck cares about black mana. Your commander costs black. Your free run to cast your creature is double black. Your deck cares about black mana. You need better black mana production, or you need some artifacts to fix your manyanyans. Okay? And then there are some things like Socrates. I do not believe in this. I do not believe you ever want to prevent damage. And obviously, this is a concept deck about a new thing that was coming out. And so I understand why you went a little overboard. But what I would do is I would pick your favorites. Your favorite assassins. And I will make sure that they either help Ezio deal combat damage, or you have a dedicated theme other than they happen to be morally great. You say overboard. Is that what you asked, Shadi? That's what you wanted to hear? Have I discussed the Etrata Ramses Ravenloft combo? No, I have not. Listen, it's been really hard to actually investigate the deck trying to talk like this. I'll keep it 100 with you. This Skyra has been really hard to think about anything having to do with magic. While I'm trying to hold this deck together with balsa wood and scotch tape. Twinkie506, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse. Okay, so what's the combo of RCUC is gone? It's a me, Mario. Etrata. Deal combat damage. Exile. Put a hit counter. Ramses. Oh, they lose the game. And then the Ravenloft Adventurer. You seem a good fellow. I hate to kill you. So I need to do what is natural, and then I need to give it a little Inigo Montoya. And then we kind of get there. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it, put a hit counter on it. So this is just ways to get hit counter. Trash. The point is that if I do in my heart what I think Italian, I get to French, and then I go Inigo Montoya, which is a Spaniard, which pulls me away a little bit from the French, closer to good buongiorno Italian. That's what I'm saying. Listen to the words. They make sense. Kelsey in the plague, I think you are smoking crack. I think you have a crack pipe in your mouth with Kelsian. I think, okay, let me get it down. Let me get it down to cuts. Let me get it down to things you need to cut. Klopch. Socrates. Kaito. Wonder. Manjandrin. Spear Leonide. Vein Ripper. What the fuck? Vein Ripper. Termination Facilitator. Kelsian the Plague. Oh, he's an assassin. My bad. Call him anyway. Evie Fry. So that's 10 cuts. I would cut those 10, see what you have left, and then attempt to build a more cohesive deck around those 10. I like your attitude. However, you are once again a 10-year-old running around in Walmart with too many trains. Too many trains, my friend. Okay, the voice is over now. We're done with the accent. Shady Shroomy, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub 5 months in a row. My favorite streamer, Pepe Le Pew. We're going to move on to Genio's Spooky deck, which is, it's arguably my most memorable deck to the point that it's the deck my playgroup most associates with me and is the first and most aggressive Voltron deck I've ever built. Go fast, eat ass, never come in last. That sounds phenomenal. Flash in the pan. Oh my god, it's Lelia. Yeah, this is go fast, eat ass for sure. Where's that accent from? I'm from everywhere. Okay, so this is, we want to exile our library. And we want to put some counters on Lelia. Blood Moon is hilarious. Go off. Smoke is insane. That is unhinged. I love it. Okay. I'm pretty down with your curve for all this exile off the top stuff. Ricochet Trap is a crazy trauma response, but I'll believe that it's playable. Not of This World is a crazy hot include, and I do legitimately believe you can get there. This also seems like a trauma response. Yeah, do we have Boil? Are we so hateful that we've included Boil in here? No, but by God, do we hate these artifacts. My question is, why don't we have Vandal Blast? Okay, and then our creatures are Storm a little bit. Casual fucking Dockside. I don't think you have any reason to have this. I understand why you want it. Komainu is hot. That is some do not come in last shit for sure. Plargan Nasari is good. I don't think you want Simian Spirit Guide. I don't think you need to go that fast, and the red mana doesn't really do anything for you. Okay, I play Inti, play Lelia. So we attack. Both these triggers go on the stack. We discard this 3/3. We exile Blood Moon 4/4. We exile the Lelia trigger 5/5. So 5/5 comes at somebody turn 3. We Blood Moon. We go to combat again. We swing. We discard Lotus Field because that is a crazy fucking card to have out here. 2 mountains. So we're getting 3 counters a turn. So we'll suspend this. Swing. Discard. Stockpile. Yeah, and here's Simian Spirit Guide fucking sucks balls for us. Ah, this is why we have the artifact hate, because we have Liquid Metal Torque. So I think that's a little kooky. I think that's a little kooky to do because you're basically relying on drawing one of the 99 cards in your library and then 2 other of the 99 cards in your library. So turn 1 we don't do anything. Turn 2, or no, turn 1 we would have played Bomac Courier, so Ricochet Trap would have gone to exile. Turn 2 we would have swung again, so now good, we don't deserve Dockside. Swing, swing. That'll go to face down. Oh, so we need a separate pile for the Bomat. So we'll get Ozolith. Ozolith will go down. Swing, swing. Getting a lot of lands. So I think we do kind of have kid with a ton of trains in their hand problem going on. We have a lot of interaction that is incredibly conditional. And I think things like Mog Salvage and Smash, which are meant to kind of cheat a little bit with the Liquid Metal Torque, I think you would every time rather draw something that actually got your deck really cooking. And I'm thinking of something like Wild Wasteland. Skip your draw step to exile is great. I also think you want more. Let me double check that other Lelia players are running this to guarantee that it does work the way I'm thinking. You want Cascade yesterday, because Cascade is going to check, I think, like every time. Wild Magic would help. Throes of Chaos. Right? Throes of Chaos goes fucking crazy. You definitely want some stuff that is going to get you cards like Light Up the Stage. Reckless Impulse would be great for you. Valclit I mean, like, as much as I hate EDH Rec because it over-homogenizes decks, you have a very straightforward game plan, and you have some very obviously strong things that you have declined to include in favor of relatively ineffective and not particularly clever things. Like the Liquimetal Torque Smash. I think Nim Deathmantle is good. I don't think you need quite this many different Voltron pieces, and I think you need more things like Wild Wasteland to draw to the good ones. This is, I repeat this, I feel like ad infinitum sometimes, but a lot of people suffer from kid holding too many trains, where they want to have like 30 things that all feel good to draw. And if your deck is really focused around a legitimate game plan, it's very tough to do that. But what you can do is you can have 30 cards that feel really good to draw and 30 cards that help you draw the 30 that feel really good to draw, rather than, in this analogy, it would actually be 60 that all felt individually good to draw. Because you don't always need Pyroblast. You don't always need Reroute. And so in those cases, you would much rather be able to say, like, okay, fuck it. Let me get to another land so that I can cast my commander. Or let me get to a Voltron piece so that I can eat ass. But I like it. I like the energy. I like the spirit. But I think you lose some of the aggression with some of the slower conditional stuff, and you can keep it going fast with some of those impulse draw things, some Cascade stuff, because Cascade will make Lelia explode out of nowhere. Like, you cast Throes of Chaos main phase 1, if you get lucky, now your commander's like a 10-10. Grilled Cheese, thank you for the 1-bit cheer. That is going to be where we end it for tonight. Thank you, everybody who watched, followed, subbed. We're going to be live again Friday doing more deck roasting. I also want to make an announcement. Next Wednesday's roasting stream is getting moved. My travel to MagicCon Amsterdam happens a few days earlier than I thought, so I will be out of the country next Wednesday. I'll be emailing you all to do a reschedule for early July. But thank you all very, very much. Thank you all for the likes, the follows, the subscribes, the support, and I will see you tomorrow or Friday. Oh, remember to stay toxic.